Have you ever seen a ghost? I have. It was the ghost of my marriage, glowing on my wife's unlocked phone screen at 2:17 a.m. The blue light cut through the darkness of our Chicago bedroom, illuminating a name I didn't recognize, Mark. The message was simple, but it was a digital tombstone for the life I thought we had. Last night was incredible. Can't stop thinking about you. Last night, she'd told me she was at a work dinner on Rush Street. My heart didn't just break, it vaporized. Her phone, usually guarded like a state secret, had been left on her nightstand, a single, catastrophic mistake. And as I scrolled up, 3 years of secrets unspooled before my eyes, each message a nail in the coffin of my trust. I realized in that cold, silent room that I wasn't just looking at infidelity. I was looking at the blueprint for my revenge. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For 10 years, Sarah was my world. We built a life in a Lincoln Park brownstone, hosted dinner parties, and planned a future that felt as solid as the city's skyline. I was a loyal, trusting husband. I was a fool. The strange behavior had started subtly. The late nights she blamed on her marketing firm, the sudden weekend work retreats, the way she'd angle her phone away from me. I'd brushed it off, drowning my own doubts in the naive belief that our bond was unbreakable. Then came the coldness. The woman who once met me at the door with a kiss now offered a clipped hay without looking up from her laptop. Intimacy became a chore for her, then a memory for me. The phone was the key. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the living room until the sun came up, the screen burning images into my mind. Texts, photos, hotel confirmations for the Thompson and the Gold Coast, receipts for gifts I never received. 3 years. He was a colleague, a smug-looking guy named Mark I'd met once at a holiday party. He'd shaken my hand, smiled, and called me a lucky guy. The humiliation was a physical thing, a hot sickness that filled my chest. They had laughed at me. While I was at home fixing a leaky faucet or planning our anniversary trip, they were in hotel rooms, living a different life on my dime. My first instinct was to shatter everything to wake her up, throw the phone at her feet, and watch her world burn. But as the initial shock subsided, a cold, hard clarity took its place. She had made me feel small and powerless. I wouldn't give her the satisfaction of a screaming match. I would give her a quiet, calculated ruin. The breakdown came a week later, alone in my car in the parking garage of my office building on Wacker Drive. The weight of it all just crushed me. I wept until I had nothing left. And in that hollowed-out emptiness, a new man was born. The loyal husband was dead. A strategist took his place. The first step was evidence. I used a recovery software to pull every deleted message, every photo, every location ping from her phone's backup on our shared computer. I now had a detailed timeline of their affair, complete with dates, times, and explicit conversations. It was a digital chronicle of my betrayal. I hired the best divorce attorney in Chicago, a shark from a firm on LaSalle Street. I laid out the evidence. I don't just want a divorce, I told her, my voice devoid of emotion. I want to enforce the infidelity clause in our prenuptial agreement. She gets nothing. I want to make sure her professional reputation is dismantled. Sarah had just been nominated for a major industry award, the culmination of her career. The awards gala was in 3 weeks at a lavish hotel downtown. She felt untouchable, floating on a cloud of arrogance and success. She had no idea the ground beneath her was about to collapse. My lawyer and I worked meticulously. We discovered that Mark was also married. We also found out that Sarah had used our joint accounts and credit cards to fund their affair at the hotel rooms. The expensive dinners, the secret getaways. It was all there in the statements I'd previously ignored. It wasn't just adultery, it was theft. The night of the gala arrived. Sarah looked radiant in a designer gown, the picture of success. She kissed my cheek, a cold, performative gesture. "Wish me luck," she whispered, her eyes already scanning the room for her colleagues, for him. "You won't need it," I said, the words tasting like ice. I didn't go in. I waited until she was seated, then I made 2 calls. The first was to Mark's wife, a woman I'd never met. I calmly and methodically laid out the entire affair. emailing her a password-protected file with a fraction of the evidence enough to be undeniable. The second was to the CEO of Sarah's company, a man who valued his firm's family-friendly image above all else. I sent him a similar file, highlighting how Sarah had embezzled company funds for her trysts, disguised as business expenses. I went home and waited. The explosion was faster and more spectacular than I could have imagined. Mark's wife, armed with proof, confronted him at the gala. The scene was public, humiliating. Sarah, sitting at the head table, watched as her lover's life imploded. Then her phone began to light up. It was her CEO. She was fired, effective immediately. She was to be investigated for fraud. The award she was moments away from receiving was rescinded. She stumbled home hours later, her face a mask of disbelief and ruin. The designer dress was stained with tears. "You," she choked out, her voice trembling with rage. "You did this." I was sitting in the dark, just as I had been the night I found her phone. I didn't raise my voice. I simply slid a thick file across the polished wood of our dining table. "I did nothing," I said, my voice a quiet, chilling whisper. "I just held up a mirror. This is who you are." Inside the file was a copy of every text, every receipt, every lie. On top was the divorce petition. She lost everything. Her job, her reputation, her friends. The prenup held, and she walked away with nothing but her clothes and the shame that would follow her forever. The house was sold. I moved out of the city, away from the ghosts of our life together. Sometimes, late at night, I think about that unlocked phone. A single moment of carelessness that unraveled a universe of deceit. I won by every measurable standard. But victory felt as silent and empty as the bedroom where it all began. The end.